Hey everybody, it's me, DeoGenZ, here with a top 5 list of my favorite Pokemon games of all time. Up to, March of 2015. Who knows what the future holds? But for now, these are my top 5 faves. Fight! In the summer of 2012, a crossover game flew in under the radar on the DS. It even was an oddity to me, not knowing anything about the turn-based strategy series Nobunaga's Ambition, for which the game was crossed over with. My hype level was minimal for Pokemon Conquest. But to my surprise, the fusion of these franchises was fantastic. Although many of the familiar mechanics from Pokemon remained, like the type differences and the weaknesses and resistances to other types, there was a lot of mechanical changes in the way that we perceived battles. Instead of taking on individual trainers one at a time with your team of 6 Pokemon, you have an army of people to control who each hold their own individual partner poke, for which they bond best with. So instead of collecting badges across a region, you expand your empire, swallowing the entire Ransei region, controlling it with your might. In your completion quest for Manifest Destiny, you'll encounter many warlords which you can befriend who are very colorful. And I mean colorful in 2 ways. Their character models are colorfully drawn, very well etched into the DS. It looks awesome. The Pokemon themselves look great too. And each of the warlords is modeled after their partner poke, so some of them befriend, the mighty Zekrom, and they've got a outfit getup that really matches their poke. It's really amusing and it's really entertaining to see each warlord's individualistic character. I greatly enjoyed the difficulty progression in this game. All too often, Pokemon can feel too easy once you assemble your primary team and take on all the gym leaders. In Conquest, different types of Pokemon were restricted to areas that you previously took over with your military might. There was a tactical approach to which part of the region you took on next. It was very refreshing that you actually had to think about where you needed to go next in order to get a 1-up on the next warlord you would encounter. Not only were the warlords interesting, but better yet, the field that you battled upon was always different. Each element was just as important as the army you deployed. Since movement was laid upon a turn-based grid, traps could be set on your opponent by baiting the AI to one portion of the map. The impromptu battle strategies you needed to enact were always exciting when your opponent took the bait. Whenever I want to play a non-traditional Pokemon game, Conquest quickly comes to mind. If you miss this hidden gem, I highly recommend giving it a try. 4. Before you could ever check my hours or play count on a game, during my childhood, my appreciation was apparent in how beat up the strategy guide for the game was. In fact, when it comes to Pokemon Yellow, I own the guide complete with collectible Pikachu figure for an entire year before I was able to find the cartridge used at GameStop. All the OG 151 fans, cover your ears now or prepare to fire the troll cannons because I thought Red and Blue was ugly. Me starting with the 2nd gen on Game Boy Advance, I was shocked to discover the colorless palettes of Pallet Town when I first entered the Kanto region with Red. My experience diminished by the superior 2nd gen, I didn't revisit Kanto until Yellow version. When I did set my virtual foot down back in the region, my main issues with the Red and Blue games were fixed. Oh my goodness, the sprites actually look like Pokemon this time, and not some weird, strange pigeon creatures. Having extensively scanned the strategy guide, I also knew all the starters were available in one cartridge. This was invaluable to me, since the initial Pokemon craze had already passed in my school and trades were sparse. Best of all, you had Pikachu by your side. For some reason, the addition of this tag-along mouse made the journey through Kanto all the more memorable. Perspective-wise, it was great to get into a time machine to see what the original Kanto region looked like before the 2nd gen reworkings. Nostalgia value plays a lot into my favorite picks here, so that's why Yellow is a little bit lower on the list than you may expect. But you may be surprised for what comes next. that title screen. So familiar, so phenomenal. Such a reminder of what a noob I once was. This was my first 3D Pokemon experience, and as such, I didn't understand the concept of a memory card. Neither did my parents that Christmas. But I couldn't care less. I must have played the first half of that game at least 10 times before getting a save file. Even when reviewing footage for today's top 5, I still get shivers down my spine when seeing the 3D battles. Not only did Colosseum offer glistening 3D in a myriad of arenas, but it also presented a fresh plot. A darker, more mature undertone was presented in this game, with thugs attempting to power up their Pokemon by closing their hearts. The implementation of Shadow Pokemon was a brilliant, pulse-pounding element to random trainer encounters. You never know when you would cross paths with these evil creatures, and when you did, absolute caution was required. One of the coolest concepts of Colosseum was the snag machine, allowing you to swipe Shadow Pokes from any opponent. It gave the main character an anti-hero vibe that was just so awesome. Oh, you gonna attack me with your super mega heartless weapon? Mine now. Colosseum completely broke away from the story conventions of the portable games, while still maintaining the tight battle system that made the series so addictive in the first place. I wish Game Freak would take more risks like this when it comes to plot. As it clearly is shown here, it can pay off more than just shoving a bunch of familiar faces into shovelware. Rumble. More than just being the most recent releases, Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire are the pinnacle in terms of game mechanics. New monstrous Mega Evolutions, excellent 3D battles, and streamlined touchpad options allow for the optimal Pokemon trainer experience. It's the little touches that matter. Being able to fly to routes now, hell, being even able to fly on Latias or Latios, freeing up a space in your party. Battling or trading real people whenever you please. All Mega Stones in one cartridge, even if it's ridiculous to get the Garchomp bite. Damn you, Aurene! But secret bases are back, and they're even better than ever with Spot Pass, delivering new content to your game regularly. From super training to searching for rare Pokemon in the wild, the touchscreen feels fully enabled in this iteration. By going back to the Hoenn region's natural landscape, I was reminded of why the recent generation of regions had low appeal for me. This game feels more like an adventure in a large, logically connected landscape in which the hero pursues myths of primal power. Even though the plot is similar to all the others in the franchise, this time the characters are actually memorable. And speaking about memory, it finally happened. Thank you, Nintendo. Thank you so much for programming this in. Randomly, people recognize you around the region as the Pokemon League champion after you best the Elite Four. Finally, a little recognition and respect for my accomplishments, I swear. Every past game, yay, you won. Now go back to your mom's house, loser. I'll be right here, like you never beat me, in my champion position of the Elite Four. It always threw me off when the Elite Four never contacted me to take Gary's spot. I'm the champion now, not you, Blue. Oh yeah, Pokemon Dash. Remember this game? Got to go fast and faster. You got to use the stylus a lot to break your screen and
Slow! Come on, step it up!
If you know my channel, then you know I can't say enough good things about Crystal. If you see this as a one-off video from my channel, well, let me break it down for you. One fine summer afternoon in the 8th year of my life, my grandfather took me to a Toys R Us. On the sneak tip, of course. That was the day I'd have my first Game Boy. Because, you know, my parents at the time didn't want me playing those dangerous video games that would zombify the children and whatnot. So, you know, my grandfather didn't care, neither did I. So, oddly enough, when I tried to get the first generation when I was selecting my Game Boy Advance, in the Toys R Us, there was only Japanese versions. In Toys R Us in America on Long Island. Maybe it was a sign. My destiny one day, Nihongo hanasemasu. One day I could speak Japanese. That was the sign. So, Crystal being the only English version available at the store at the time, it was my first and clearly most cherished game of all time. I played this cartridge so much that the internal battery ran dry multiple times. For those unaware, Game Boy Color cartridges were essentially a ticking time bomb waiting to delete your save file due to, you know, the mechanics of go fuck yourself. Even with my level 100s erased multiple times, I enjoyed this game immensely. Lesser known fact about the second gen, it was planned to be the end of the series, which is a pretty good explanation for why Crystal is so jam-packed with awesome. When ending a symphony, you prefer a triumphant outro that grasps the mind of its viewers and refuses to let go. Pokemon Crystal was just that. So strong that Pokemania as a cultural meme was bound to spread. The game gives you epic purpose early, having you pursue the notorious Pokemon thief, question mark, question mark, question mark. Yeah, literally, called him that in my first playthrough. Not as bad, though, when considering I wasted my first Master Ball on a wild Ponyta. But noobishness aside, there was mystery and adventure to be had around every corner in Crystal. Enter a cave once and battle some Pyros to get to the end. Enter a cave twice with Surf on your side, and then find a hidden Lapras on a special day? What? Events even shifted from day to night cycles, encouraging further backtracking. There was plenty of forward progression though, in fact so much so that it couldn't fit in one region.
That's right.
2 regions, never been done before or since. Best Pokemon game of all time. Case closed, good night. Sayonara. No, but seriously, going back to that triumphant finish idea, being able to travel back between Kanto and Johto was magical as a kid. It felt like I unlocked a whole new adventure mode. As the game anticipated to be the Pokemon Company's grand finale, subsequent sequels hardly live up to this crystalline masterpiece. So that's been my opinion on the top 5 Pokemon games of all time, but I want to know what you guys think. Comment below on your 5 faves. And make sure you share the videos and subscribe if you haven't, because more top 5s and 10s will be coming to the channel in short time.